Hello and welcome back to another video on the Wrestlers Bay and to another edition of Raw Out of 10. Of course, it's the first Monday Night Raw since WMBacklash, which happened on Sunday. And an intriguing show, what's going on in it? And we've got a lot of the fallout from that on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. Some big matches on the cards. Let's get straight into it. RK Bro kicked off the show. Orton explained that last night at WMBacklash tag titles were not on the line because Roman Reigns tore up his contract. Orton added that they are now looking to unify the titles for themselves before the Street Profits showed up. Ford and Andre Dawkins said that they will be the ones to unify the tag titles tonight after beating RK Bro. Ford then demanded that the Smoke and Riddle implied that the Profits would be the ones being smoked before we headed to a break and then moved into the match. Riddle and Montez Ford kicked off the match and the latter took control of the dropkick before tagging in Andre Dawkins. Orton came in and sent Dawkins into the corner before tagging Riddle in. Dawkins sent Riddle outside and Ford had a big dive over the ropes before we headed for a break. Back on Raw, Orton came in and hit the draping DDT on Dawkins after sending Ford outside. Dawkins then dodged the RKO before Riddle accidentally took out the Viper with a floating bar on the apron. Ford then hit Riddle with a frog splash in the ring, but Orton broke out the pin. Ford tried for another RKO, but Riddle caught him with an RKO, picking up the victory. This gets a 6 out of 10 from me. Good match to kick off the show, really. Fun little match. We've seen it a lot, but it's still a good match for me. RK Bro picking up the win. Good to see they've still got intent of unifying the tag titles. I think what we all want after being deprived of that match at Backlash. Theory then had an interview on Raw and said he didn't need to prepare for his title match with Cody Rhodes since he was always at his true potential. Judgment Day were out next and they were being referred to as the Dark Trio by the commentator. Edge was in a suit and said he had a fancy new haircut. The Hall of Famer said that he was totally not Vampire Cult, was going to destroy the critics and the haters by beating AJ. Damian Priest joined in as they were talking about the Royal Priest and he introduced to us Rhea Ripley, who was really mad at people for selling her autographs on eBay. Okay, Ripley said that she will destroy Liv Morgan tonight and Edge shall teach the Nightmare to unleash her true destructive potential. And that's what we got. Ripley v Morgan next. Ripley unleashed on Morgan off the bat and tossed her around the room by the head. Morgan managed to counter off a top right move and hit a run on her before being taken down with a big boot. Morgan was taking a beating as the match went on and Rhea was stomping on her in the ring before the Four managed to make a comeback. Morgan missed her finisher however and was caught in standing cloverleaf before tapping out. Ripley went for submission again after the match to assert dominance before Finn Balor and AJ Styles came out for the next match. Just on this match, it's really good. Gets 7 out of 10 for me, and I really think this is a fresh bake for Rhea Ripley, and I'm intrigued by what I've seen and encouraged by the first few days in the new stable. Priest had the early advantage in the next match and kicked Balor down in the corner before getting the broken arrow for a near fall. Balor came back in with a basement dropkick and sent Priest into the corner before he headed for a break. Back on Raw, Balor hit Priest outside and was about to hit a dive before Ripley got in the way. Balor was standing in the ring and Edge came in with a spear which took him down. Styles came in to assist but Damian Priest set him up and Edge took him down with a spear as well. And kind of just felt like this match was rushed. It could have been done a different way, maybe in a promo afterwards or whatever, but it just didn't work for me. I would have liked to see a proper good match between these two, not a scrappy DQ finish. It gets a 5 out of 10 for me, and a real contrast really between the two Judgment Day bits today, Rhea and Damian. Backstage, Kevin Owens left Alpha Academy knowing that his older brother will confront Ezekiel tonight. Omos was out next with MVP, and the latter claimed he didn't need Bobby Lashley and that he made the almighty. Cedric Alexander came out to celebrate it with them, but Lashley showed up and took out security guards. Lashley rushed right outside and sent Omos outside before getting the hurt lock as Alexander and MVP and the Nigerian ran off. Why is Cedric being allowed in after just getting destroyed by him? I don't understand, but it looks like this feud's continuing. To be honest, I kind of would like to have seen it over off the last pay-per-view, but so it is. But anyway, Sonya Deville was against Alexa Bliss next. Deville was out and Adam Pearce announced her opponent's Bliss. Bliss came in with an early DDT and a twisted Bliss before getting a swift win in her return match. And don't get me wrong, it's good to see Alexa back, but it just felt very random. She just suddenly came back. Sonya Deville, clearly they don't have any big plans for her because she's got squashed. I'll give it a 6 out of 10 just on pleased to see Alexa Bliss back, but don't bury Sonya because she's really great and it was just all very sudden. Next up on Monday Night Raw, Kevin Owens was out in the ring and said he was Ken, Owens' older brother. It was about to plot to make Ezekiel me he was Elias, and after it failed, Owens and later Alpha Academy came out and attacked Ezekiel. KO him with a stunner before they were done. I freaking love Kevin Owens, man. Backstage, Adam Pearce said that Oscar deserves a title match, and Becky Lynch came in to argue that it should go to her instead. Oscar called Lynch a big baby before he moved on. And then V Mahan was up against Wardlow. Oh no, sorry, it was Frank Loman, but it was definitely a Wardlow lookalike who Vince McMahon kind of got because he wants to make Wardlow look bad. I mean, I would say petty, but I mean, it's definitely the case. But yeah, it was definitely a squash, so that's one thing for sure. Hitting $1 million arm, and then a patented circle crucifix, picking up the victory. I mean, like I said what I said, and I don't really agree with it, so for that reason, it's going to get a 5 out of 10. Theory vs Cody Rhodes for the US title was up next, very out of the blue. Theory was taunting Rhodes early on and had got a big sequence of moves leading up to a dropkick and a stomp. Rhodes was then sent into the corner and taking an elbow strike. Theory got a near fall off a step suplex and Rhodes looked to have injured his knee. Cody then came back with a dropkick before dropping Theory outside for the apron. Theory blocked a kick and dropped Rhodes on the apron before clearing the announce desk. Rhodes unloaded on Theory on the outside, but the champion ran away before he could get the move on the desk. After a break, the American Nightmare fell off of the near fall and got a disaster kick in the Cody Cutters. Rollins attacked Cody right before he was about to make the pin and took him out of ringside. Rollins then hit Rhodes with a stomp on the announce desk before he was done. And yeah, I think we all knew which way this is going. It's just boringly predictable, really. So it gets a 5 out of 10. Not opposing the Rollins feud continue though. But anyway, moving on, Sasha Banks and Naomi versus Nikki ASH and Doudrop was up next. Naomi and Doudrop kicked off the match, and the latter got a nearly fall with a splash. Doudrop then hit a big clothesline before Naomi got an scary counter and made the tag to Sasha. Banks tried for crossbody but was hit with a body slam. Nikki then tagged in and tried for a cover, but the boss kicked out. Nikki then refused to make the tag, but so she could get the pin on Banks, but the latter managed to make the tag to Naomi. They hit wrench due to combined finisher for the win. And yeah, I mean, like, after the match, Doudrop yelled Nikki, telling her to take it seriously, and you know, it's just a bit stupid for me, really, having them lose the tag team champion straight away. I'll get the story, but you know, it's just a bit rubbish, isn't it? 5 out of 10. Mustafa Ali versus Ciampa was up next. The Miz was guest referee for the match, and Mustafa Ali was in control early on. The Oldest had got in his way, letting Ciampa get on the drop on him. The Miz refusing to counter Ali's pin attempt before Ciampa sent him outside with a knee strike. Ali then got a neck breaker and followed out with a drop kick and a tornado DDT. The Miz was counting very slowly, and he started to yell at the guest official for it. Ciampa caught Ali off the distraction and hit the reverse DDT for the W. Yeah, I mean, I get a 6 out of 10 from me. It was a good match, really. But you know, obviously with the gimmick, it kind of dropped off. But you know, it doesn't really bury both these superstars because Ciampa got the win and Ali's got a reasonable excuse. So you know, it's kind of a bit way of doing it. But you know, it wasn't too bad at all. You know. Next up was Bianca versus Asuka before backstage. Lashley challenged Damian to a steel cage match next week, which will probably turn this out. But R-Truth was backstage with Dana Brooke, and Tamina served the divorce papers to Reggie. He tried to serve them to Cesaro as well, but he ran away. Fucking hell. Asuka versus Bianca Belair was up next. Asuka started off strong, but was caught in a headlock early on. Asuka got a near fall before reversing a big slam into triangle before Becky Lynch ran in and took out Bianca Belair mid-match and sent her into the steps. After the match, it was called off, and Lynch attacked Asuka and hit the man handle slam before posing in the ring. And yeah, it was all very short. I mean, like, it was very predictable the way it's going to go. Once again, you know, it's just repetitive throughout the whole show, really. So, you know, I can't really give it other than a 5 out of 10. And yeah, overall this week, Raw gets a 5 out of 10. I'm not as enthusiastic about this Raw as I was for the last few weeks, because yeah, it really felt like Raw was going somewhere the last few weeks. But I mean, like, this one just felt like DQ Central. Those were rematches. Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan, if I'm being brutally honest. So yeah, Raw this week gets a 5 out of 10 from me. But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks very much for watching. With a like, share, subscribe, and if it's going to have very informative things, switch me for daily wrestling news and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe, and I would greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.